What is up, crew? Welcome to Seek the Edge podcast with me, Kelsey Lensman, where my goal, my mission for you is to challenge you outside your comfort zone, get you a little bit uncomfortable here so you can tap into the God-given potential inside. And that is kind of the story of my life. Is I grew up in an amazing family, had a lot of great opportunities at an early age to me build up, but my confidence is the one that lacked. And that came from the stories that I was telling myself. And so as a result of it, I lacked that belief. I thought, well, that was for them and not me. I lacked that confidence of either shooting the basketball when my whole team was relying on me because I was afraid to miss it. It was this fear that constantly built up that delayed me and at times stopped me from pursuing what God called me here to do. And the impact that you can make when you step into that and don't allow fear to hold you back. And so I just ripped off of that, but that is our main topic today is building belief, the mechanics of building belief in yourself. Because it's not just something that can sound good of poof, one day I have belief in yourself, or just repeat all these affirmations in the mirror. That is like social media's favorite thing of just say these affirmations. It's not necessarily that simple, and there is a mechanics to this. There is a process that you can go through to actually build belief, and it takes work, it takes effort, it takes consistency, but that's what we're going to talk through today. And one of the main reasons why I see a lot of women not pursue things is because of lack of belief. It's the, oh, I can't do that. It's the well, that's for her and not me. I said that at the beginning. It's the one day I will, ... And then that day never comes. And it's the automatically disqualifying yourself from a true desire placed in your heart. Automatically disqualifying yourself of that thing that you want to go for, but you've never actually given yourself permission to because you're afraid of your capability or inability to pursue that thing. And like I said, this personally hits home for me because I have wrestled with this. I was listening to a podcast on my way here. It was actually a sermon, and it was talking about how basically the things that you're called to really go into are usually challenges that you've endured. And I'm like, dang, is that true? I wish it wasn't true, but it rings so true for me personally. And I had the thought patterns of meeting a desire with why I can't or why I should not. I had a thought pattern of immediately disqualifying myself on why I wasn't able to. Over time, there's still doubt, there's still hesitation, I'm still human, but over time, through the mechanics that we're going to talk through today, I have less fear, less doubt, less limitation when I have an idea or a desire or a crazy thought enter my brain of something to pursue. Over time, that has lessened, and I've actually built a lot of belief in myself through my faith and the actions that I've taken, that it has literally rewired my brain. The thoughts that I would think 10 years ago are completely different than the thoughts that I think now. I almost forget sometimes how I thought back then, which I have to pull myself back to because you just learn to operate differently. I learned to operate with not this arrogance, not this I can do it all mentality, but this deep grounded confidence of, well, if I feel called to do that, okay, I have proof from what I've done that I've done these things that I didn't think that I could do, so maybe I can also do this thing. And like I said, it's not just about repeating these affirmations to yourself. Social media is going to try to convince you. If you say this enough, you're going to believe it, okay? But it's not about repeating those affirmations while still doing the same things and still falling back to those same patterns. It's about building belief. It's about building proof within yourself that when you break those lies that are not true, you show yourself through the work that you do that it is possible, that you are capable. All it is lies that you're believing. All it is lies that you're believing with your inability. But if we've had a history of not following through, if we had a history of believing stories that can seem real to us but are not actually factual, then it's going to pull us back. And so this is for you if you're done putting yourself in a box or you're ready to grow to that next level. Every single one of us, no matter if you are on top of the world, if you are just getting started, there are continual new levels of growth, not just fitness. It could be spiritual. It could be career, professional. It could be in your family. And if you are ready to stop limiting the limitless God that created you and placed you here, then I'm excited because this episode is for you. And however it builds down to this one specific quote is that belief is not built in comfort. Belief is not built in comfort. It is built when you prove yourself you can handle the unknown. Belief is not built in comfort. It is built when you prove to yourself that you can handle the unknown. And there's a core idea here, and that is comfort can be calming and is calm, but it also confines. I'm not saying go out and run like a chicken with your head cut off and go crazy, right? But when we stay in those comfort zones, like a bird in a cage that has the bird cage door open, but they don't have the courage to pursue outside of the bird cage. They don't have the courage to go up to that open door because they don't know what's on the outside. On the outside, they have limitless possibility. They can fly anywhere. They can go to a different state. They can do all these things. But because the confines of their cage is so comfortable, it limits them from the possibility of what actually is open and available to them. Ooh, this is sitting deep. It's like, this reminds me so much from a faith lens. We are stuck in our own cages with the door wide open, and we don't even realize it. And so while comfort zones can provide ease and stability, like I said, they can also simultaneously inhibit your growth. And as we learn, as we grow, I'm going to share with you the 4 zones that I talk quite often about. But the learning zone, the zone where we're not that great at it yet, that does drive change. Comfort does not. There's a law called the Yerkes-Dodson law, which I'm going to butcher that. But it illustrates that there's a moderate level of stress and arousal leads to peak performance. But too little stress results in disengagement. But too much also stifles performance. So growth happens in that sweet spot, right? We don't want everything to be burning up in our life at every capacity, right? Talk to God if it is. But at the same time, when we solely live our life to just be comfortable, or this comfortable and happiness that is continually moving, and we don't lean into that resistance, we don't lean into that growth, it actually is stifling us more than it is helping us. It is actually leading to this lack of fulfillment. If you've ever read The Comfort Crisis, read it because this will ring true in it. It's leading to a lack of fulfillment, lack of passion, lack of purpose, lack of excitement in your life versus it leading to those things. Kind of like the inverse theory. We think it's going to create this when we go for our comfort, when really it creates the opposite. And I know that can sound good, like, okay, Kelsey, yeah, that makes sense. But dang, to live like that and to do it is a little bit more challenging. But when you lean into it, it becomes less scary, okay? And last year around this time, as I'm dropping this episode, is when I was designing with the team our XYL logo for my company, Expand Your Limits. And the L at the end has 4 different kind of slash marks in a way. The first one is really big. The second one is a little bit smaller. The third one is even smaller. And the fourth one is a little sliver. And this represents the 4 areas of growth, the 4 areas, I call it the 4 zones of greatness. Is first that big one, that big slash is the comfort zone. That is safe, that is comfortable, that is where many people stay their entire life, but that also inhibits from you tapping into your full potential. It's very low risk. It's very, okay, I know what I'm doing tomorrow. And your brain loves and craves this zone. Oh, if it could stay here all day, every day, it would. And it tries to get you to because it's comfortable, right? That next zone is what I call the fear zone, okay? That fear zone is where doubt, where hesitation, where every question of why you can't do the thing pulls in. That third zone is called what I call the learning zone. You push past that fear and then you realize I'm not good at the thing. When I first started podcasting, I was terrible. When I first started lifting weights, not strong. When I first started even pull back to walking, probably fell down way more times than I actually started walking. But if I keep putting in the reps, I get better. And that fourth zone, which is the smallest, because so few people ever have the courage to pursue and get here, is the growth zone. That is where you realize I did the thing that I didn't think that I could do. If I did this, what else is possible? And the one thing with that comfort zone, it's safe, it's comfortable, it's known, it's predictable, your brain loves it. But your belief in yourself does not grow here. If you stay doing the things that are comfortable, stay doing the things that are predictable, stay doing the things that don't challenge in any capacity, you will stay that bird in a bird cage with that door wide open, thinking you can't fly on the outside when really you're keeping yourself in that cage. And you building belief in yourself to get out of that bird cage never happens, never grows. And so without any challenge, there's no proof to yourself that you can endure or that you can accomplish or that you can succeed. And so this is what brings us into the mechanics of building belief. As I was writing this outline, I wish I can show you. If you can see it on my on YouTube right here, my brain was like just going off on it because I have a tendency to read books, a lot of books, and I have a tendency to also just learn. I love learning. I love growing. And there are so many different pieces to the mechanics of building belief. And I'm going to really distill it down into a concept, in an actionable concept that hopefully will make the aha moment go off in your brain. I'm not trying to just get too sciencey and make it not applicable to your life. And so as the mechanics of building belief, first we have to understand that belief loves data. Belief loves data. And what does that mean? A belief starts with a thought. That thought then goes searching for data in your memory archive and database to prove or disprove that thought. Then, depending on the data, it becomes a story you repeatedly tell yourself. If you have evidence that that thought is correct, it becomes a really strong belief, or what we're going to talk about is a table, and that becomes stronger. Okay? If you have no evidence that that thought is correct, then it has less strength. Okay, so let's just illustrate real quick. Okay, a belief starts as a thought. This thought enters your brain. Go searching in your memory bank for all of the previous data points to either prove or disprove this point. If there's a lot of data for this thought to be true, then that thought becomes a belief and gets stronger. It's like a muscle, starts building its muscle. If I have searched all of the data and there's not much data to prove this thought correct, that thought weakens. So let's relate this to a table. When I heard this analogy, it was like poof, like it gave me so much more logical reasoning because I like to understand the why behind things, that it challenged me to have more courage because of this. So we're going to relate this to a table. Okay, we're going to relate this to a table. Okay, this tabletop, if you see on YouTube, you see the tabletop. That is a thought. The legs supporting this table are data points for that thought. If you have enough data points, that table or belief stands strong. If I have 4 legs on my table, guess what? That table is standing and it's staying strong. Okay. If I only have 3 legs on this table, 3 data points here, then my table's wobbly. It's not as strong. It doesn't have as much ability to stand strong when something else comes and tries to push it over or to disprove it wrong. Okay. So let's relate this here. Let's say that you think a thought of, I am strong. That is the thought. Okay, that's just the tabletop, that's the thought. It needs legs underneath it for that table to stand. So it searches your memory bank, your memory archive of data points and memories that prove that thought right. If you do, it will reaffirm that thought and make that thought become a really strong belief. If there's no data to back it up, then there's a lack of legs, so that thought becomes wobbly and it has less strength. So let's flip it to the negative because our brain has a very much a negativity bias to try to protect us, okay? It's a lot of times easier to think of what could go wrong or the negative or what you don't like about yourself than what it is. So let's say something happens and you have the thought of, I am not capable. That table thought needs to stand firm and needs to find its legs. So it goes in your brain, thought pops up, you're not even aware of it, goes into your brain, searches all the reasons why you previously have not been capable. Okay. If your brain can find all of those reasons without you being aware of it or snatching that thought up, okay, it will reaffirm that story, and that story will then become your reality. Conversely, okay, if I snatch that thought, if I'm actually now becoming aware of what I'm thinking, or I'm becoming aware of, wait, that thought, that's a crazy thought, okay? My brain might think it, or that thought is not of me. For those faith people, that thought is not of God. Okay, I just got out of a pretty bad car accident. I had so much fear and anxiety around getting back on the highway. Okay, I had to catch that thought. I could still feel the emotion, okay, but I had to catch that thought and say, hey, that thought is not of God. Okay, he does not call us to be fearful. He does not call us to be crippled by anxiety. That thought is not of God. And so if it would go to my memory bank, I would have a lot of legs on the table why I should be fearful. Well, you just got out of a really bad accident. Okay, well, you were in a four-wheeling accident, that happened too. And it would consume me and make that fear bigger and be not just a fear, but probably a bigger belief in my life. And so I can snatch it, right? And understand that it's telling me a lie. The first step of that is just awareness. Or if I'm not aware of this and that thought comes, I'm not capable, and I'm not aware of the inner dialogue, and I have not really done much work to understand how my brain operates or why I've created these beliefs about myself, then guess what's going to happen? Your brain, without you knowing, is going to reaffirm that limiting belief and is going to be stronger on that table. Is it true? No. Is it a lie? Yes. But it is going to be stronger. And so where am I going with this? Is until we build more data points, or proof to ourselves to look back and build the positive beliefs and destroy the lies or the negative ones, your brain will find those data points to continue to tell the same stories for those limiting beliefs. Are they true? No. Will it feel like they are without realizing it? Yes. And so this is where we need to build proof. This is why just positive affirmations do not go far. Okay. When we do not have any data to build that up, and I just tell myself in the mirror, oh, I am confident and fit, but I never go on a walk. I never feel my body right. I never go to the gym. I never do anything to lead to more confidence or being fit. Then I'm just telling myself a load of baloney. I'm just telling myself stuff that can feel like it's actually helping, but it ain't helping at all, right? I need to build up that data I am going for a walk today. I did go and lift some weights today. I did choose a higher protein meal versus something that isn't as beneficial for me, right? I need those data points. And so as we build more data points, our life points to resilience. Our life points to more confidence, points to more strength. And that's, like I said, why affirmations only go so far, because your brain won't believe it. And so your brain needs proof or evidence to increase your confidence in that belief. Okay. Every time you do something that scares you and you survive it, okay, don't do something crazy, stupid, but do something that, it promotes my growth but scares me a little bit. It builds proof that you're stronger than you think. Every time you pick yourself back up after getting knocked down in life in some capacity, it builds proof that you're resilient. Every time you push past that discomfort and see growth on the other side, it builds proof that when you lead into discomfort, it will grow. You will grow instead of shying away from it. It's like a muscle. Your belief grows as you lean into consistent challenge and consistent doing the things that promote that growth. It's reps over time. You get stronger and you can endure more with the weights get heavier as you go into it. Okay. And from a faith lens, so similar, it says in James 1:2-4, talks about growing through trials. And that personal belief grows through tested moments. Okay. There are going to be tests. There are going to be challenges. There is going to be some resistance. We're not trying to increase it, right? But we need to have confidence and faith that God has called us to things that we can endure. Okay. If you are in it and you have faith and you are a believer, he has called you and you already have the right and victory over that. You already do. Now walk in those promises, walk in that faith, walk in those promises, and show up to build those data points alongside of the faith part. And so a few real life examples from me as we pull it together is I have many, as I was going through this, I have many, is first of all, I never viewed myself as a runner. If you would have asked me 2 years ago if I could run 100 miles, I would laugh in your face and walk out the door. I'd say, you are out of your dang on mind. And when I first had this idea, or my friend came to me of saying she was going to run 100 miles, I'm like, that is crazy, first of all. Second of all, there's no, like, how can I do that? Okay. But I had data points in my life through powerlifting, through bodybuilding, through other fitness activities where, Kels, you did the thing that you didn't think that you could do then. So it makes you think that you can't do this now. And my now automatic thought process of it's possible. I genuinely, this might seem very, like rose-colored glasses, and I don't mean for it to seem like this, but I genuinely think physically anything is possible. Okay. Granted, some people are born, like I'm not going to be the WNBA All-Star. that is past. But if there's a challenge or if there's something crazy, like it's possible. Doesn't mean it's going to be fun. Doesn't mean it's going to be easy, but it's possible. And I think that's just how my brain is wired now. But like I said, it's taken so many years and reps to make it wired like this. Okay. I was not always this like, oh, I can do it. But once again, I think over time, I realized I've broken a lot of beliefs with myself. So now I do have almost this unshakable confidence of like, hey, if God's with me and if he's putting on my heart to do this, like, let's go, baby. Like, I'm willing to put in the work. I know there's going to be moments of resistance. I know there's going to be moments of doubt. But if he calls me to it, and if I have the data points and belief in myself through other things that I've done that I didn't think that I could do then, y'all better watch out. It's going to get real good. So that's first thing athletically is I ended up running 100 miles. Didn't think that I could do it, but I've built up data through also training for it that gave me the courage to toe that line. I could not just one day want to do it and the next day show up and do it. I had to build data points up and build proof that I could and had the capability to. Second thing was owning my business, career and professionally. Man, I had a lot of disbelief, lack of belief in myself in this. And I think it's something that I continually work through because new levels equals new versions of you and different things that are required. But with this one, I have to, even to this day, I have to focus on just finishing my power list. I had to focus on just winning the day today because when there is a lot of unknown, and if you've owned a business out there, there is a lot of unknown. There's not much stability. But if I focus on just winning today, that is a win. That is what I can control. And then I release that other control to God. Okay. I can focus on getting people in my corner. I can focus on taking actionable steps towards what's going to benefit me. I can focus on all those things. Right. And that is going to help me progress here. So, and then personally, something that I've really dug into over the past couple months is emotionally opening up more to myself too, that hopefully then will lead to a partner, and being a lot more emotionally open as a partner too, and with my family and my friends. And I had this kind of wall of strength up, and I viewed weakness or like emotional vulnerability as weakness, almost. And I wasn't aware of these thoughts. I wasn't aware of this programming that I had. But what I've been really leaning into is just being more honest with myself and genuinely ask myself, like, Kels, how do you feel right now? I'm not basing my actions on my emotions, but I'm trying to become more emotionally literate with myself so then I can communicate it better externally to other people versus just saying like, oh, I'm good. And so once again, all of that is built up through data points. All of that belief in myself and confidence in myself is built up through proof, is built up through acknowledgement. And I would be remiss if I would say any of those things were comfortable. Every single one of them were uncomfortable. None of them, especially the emotional part, were not in my comfort zone. But the fulfillment and the confidence and the lessons that I've learned on the other side, and also the results, like the real worldly results, has been incredible. And I would be doing a disservice to all of you that if I didn't pull this piece of it in. And I shared previously that I've done a lot from a personal development side. I've done a lot of work internally. I've done a lot of work fitness-wise. And over this past year, I have felt very called to grow from a faith and a spiritual part. And it's always been a big part, or always been a part of me, not a big part. But I've just had some almost supernatural encounters in a way where I have wanted to grow so deeply and more in my faith. And one thing that I have really wrestled with is my self-reliance and trying to build it myself versus understanding my identity in Christ and allowing him to work in and through me. And when, this would have been a couple months ago, I'm a big identity girl. Like, who you believe yourself to be will play out in your life. Who you believe yourself to not be will play out in your life. And at the root cause of a lot of people's actions is not just their behaviors, it's their belief of who they believe themselves to be. It's their identity. And so what I wanted to wrestle with and understand biblically is, what is my identity in Christ? Like, who has he created us to be? And oh my gosh, when I started diving into this, especially Romans 8, specifically for those that know, when I can understand what my identity is as a child of God, and I speak his promises over my life, and he is unchanging. He is unwavering. When I speak what he has created me to be, along with building belief in myself, oh, that's a recipe to become unstoppable. When I have started to really understand, and I'm not even close to being done, it's going to be forever understanding. But when I've started to really ground my feet in, well, who does God say that I am? What does being a child of God mean? How has he created me? What has he created me to be? What does he say that I am? What does he say that I have dominion and power over? I remember I was driving to a worship night with a girl right now, and I was reading Romans 8 out loud to her, and I said, Kyla, when you can genuinely conceptualize what this means over your life, you would be fearless. You would be unstoppable. You would not be getting in your way at all. We're humans, right? The world is broken. We do. But when I've combined building belief physically in this world, taking steps towards it, and also renewing my mind through what my identity is as a child of God, both of those combined, that is a deadly weapon for the adversary, first of all, but for you to really step into all that you can be and are called to be. And those two things combined, I would be doing you a disservice if I just talked about you being self-reliant and building belief in yourself and not having the faith part getting brought in. But I would also be doing you a disservice to only talking about it from a faith lens and an identity lens and speaking promises over to you without saying, hey, we do have to take some steps here in the physical world, right? We can't just sit back and eat Cheetos and watch TV. And yes, God is all powerful, but he calls us to take some steps too and work co-collaboration with him. So read Romans 8. Like I said, this does not mean to make you believe what I believe, but I have felt very called in that area of my life, and I've been stretched and growing in that area of my life that both of those combined have been unstoppable for me. And so some practical application is do something that pushes your edges, okay? Sign up for that event. Hire a coach. Do something that is going to build data points in your life. Go for a walk. Choose the protein, okay? Once again, reframe that fear. We talked about in last podcast, this is very similar, is reframe it, okay? See it as a sign. Try to understand it. Where is it coming from? Why is it there? And I talked with one of my clients about this last week, actually, is get a proof journal, okay? Whenever you come on, I have you message your coach one time a day for just a couple weeks of you having a win for that day. That can seem very, why do you have them do that, Kelsey? It seems too easy, okay? Or why is that important? I'm getting you to build your own proof that you are taking steps and doing things that make you proud of you. I'm getting you to acknowledge and build up a proof journal of, oh my gosh, I did this today. Or, oh my gosh, I chose that over this. Keep a journal of when you stepped out of your comfort zone. Keep a journal of when you did the thing that you didn't want to do or didn't think that you could do. And like I said, if you're a believer, tie this in with a prayer for courage and trust that God's equipping you as you go. Okay, you don't have to go through this alone. First, you got people, okay? But you also got God. You got the person that, or that not person, you have the almighty figure that has created you. And so allow that to equip you and give you confidence and courage to pursue. So I want you to choose one thing that stretches you today and watch your belief rise as a step. Love you guys. Go build that belief, get you some data points, and I'll see you soon.